What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Infamous Labz TV. I'm here with Bryan. Say what's up, Bryan.
What's up, Bryan?
Today we are installing a wideband on Bryan's supercharged Miata. What'd you have in it before?
A narrowband. The narrowband reads on a 0 and 1 volt signal, I think, and that's all it can do. The wideband reads from 0 to 5 volts, I believe, so it can read a little further beyond just rich and lean, and it can actually give you accurate air fuel information rather than just have a light that dances around. It can tell you your exact ratios.
Word. All right. About how long do you think it'll take to install it?
I'm thinking like 2 hours, but I usually take longer to do everything than I say.
All right, so here's the box. This is a Innovate wideband. Came with everything we need: wires, sensors, all that good stuff. Your directions that we don't need because Bryan's a pro.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at those.
And some extensions here.
Comes with a bung, so you weld this sucker into the exhaust. So I gotta drill a hole. We got our step bit over here, which is gonna drill a hole big enough for the sensor to read through. And then we got the bung. You weld that over the hole on the exhaust, and then you can screw the sensor into the exhaust, and then it'll read your exhaust stream. It'll read the air-fuel ratio by how much is in the exhaust. And then comes with a new gauge.
Nice. It's a good size too.
Yeah, it should fit in the pod that I have.
All right. So what we got here, Bryan?
All right, so the power and ground wire that were running up to the old narrowband gauge are now butt connected to the power and ground wire for the new gauge. The new gauge is going into the pod here.
Fits nicely in there.
Yep. And just got to tuck all these wires in here, and this wire has to get run down to the oxygen sensor under the car, so I'm just gonna kind of tuck this down in the corner here for now and just kind of stick this back up here, try to jam it back into place where it was, and then I got to get the car up on the lift and drill a hole in the exhaust and weld in the O2 sensor bung and put that O2 sensor in.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Okay, so there we go. It's back in place. Looks good. Now we just got to run the rest of the wires.
Kind of drew a mark here. This is the oxygen sensor and bung that has to be welded to the pipe. So I took a Sharpie and just marked it kind of where it is. We got to drill a hole big enough for the sensor to go into the exhaust. Hopefully I can drill it with this drill bit without it walking around. If not, I might have to pre-drill it with a smaller drill bit, but let's give it a shot. I'm on kind of a funky angle here hitting on the frame, so let's see if it goes in straight. Oh yeah, we got it. Let's make sure we're not going to drill all the way through the exhaust. It's pretty close.
Yeah, this is pretty close.
Let's look in there and see if there's a hole starting on the other side. I can't see it.
Can't tell.
Let me get...
So yeah, guys, this is a Miata exhaust, so it's pretty small. The length of it, or I should say the width of it, is about the same as the drill bit. So for those of you guys doing this at home, be careful to check and make sure you're not putting a hole into the other side, because that would suck.
That's pretty much as big as it's gonna get with that bit anyway, unless I ream it out. Let's see how it goes with the bung here. Not quite as big as I want it to be, but it's big enough for the sensor. It's just going to be hard to, yeah, it's plenty big for the sensor to go in there. If I keep that off of there.
So it's a good size for the sensor, but not quite big enough for the bung.
Yeah, I can just surface weld the bung on there. It's a pretty deep bung.
Okay. So, guys, after you're done making your hole for where you're gonna put the bung, we're gonna need to clean this up a little bit.
Yeah, this has coating on it. It's like ceramic coated, even though it's all faded.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to take some sand or sandpaper, or take the wire wheel or something, and just get that down to bare metal, because that's probably gonna mess up the welds.
And then we're gonna weld our bung in, and then see where it goes from there. Hopefully we didn't make a hole on the other side. So we're just cleaning it down before we weld it, but most likely if you know how to weld, then you'll know that this needs to be cleaned before you try it and weld it.
Okay, so the bung is flat and the pipe is curved, so to minimize the gap that we have, I'm just gonna give the pipe a couple of taps on either side here, which is gonna flatten the pipe just a little bit, and that'll make it a cleaner weld. So I'm just gonna hit it like about right here. Right here. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, but this is now a flatter surface to weld to. So.
Alright guys, so Bryan has finished welding in the bung. Looks pretty good. Now he's looking for some, what are you looking for?
Looking for some paint to throw on there so it doesn't rust. But
yeah, just gonna throw some paint on there so it doesn't rust, since we did sand off the ceramic coating, which was supposed to help with that.
It definitely gave me a hard time welding. I had to go back in with the wire wheel on the grinder and try to knock off a little more of the ceramic, because the welder just wouldn't weld it. The ceramic, I guess, is a pretty good insulator, so when the welder would touch where there was ceramic, it just wouldn't conduct and start a weld. So
okay,
came out a little bit sloppy, but it's solid.
Alright guys, the bung is in. The sensor is screwed in. That's simple, nothing too complicated. You literally just have to screw it in, make sure it's tight. And now what we have to do is find a way to run this in the car and run it in a way where it's not near anything where it's going to get too hot and potentially catch on fire. So that's just a safety note there. Bryan has put tape on the end so that when we're running it through wherever we decide, we haven't decided where to run it yet, but wherever we decide to run it through, we put tape on the end so that no grease gets jammed into the connector. So that's a good idea. That could be a potential problem later on. So there we go. The car is now on. It's still loading right now.
Yep, so it's heating up with the exhaust gases. It's at idle, that's pretty normal. Around 15 to 1 air-fuel ratio. 15 parts air, 1 part fuel. Under load, it's probably going to dip down into the 12s. And that's about what you want under boost for safety. Keep it rich enough so it doesn't have too high of combustion temperatures.
Yep, it's looking pretty good. What's up, Kyle? Will it fluctuate if I hit the gas?
Yeah, it'll dip down a little bit on tip-in.
Yeah, so you see the readings change when you hit the accelerator a little bit. It's kind of just getting acquainted, and there we go, it's in the 14s now.
When you first stab the gas, it has tip-in enrichment. It gives it, it shoots some extra fuel just for that initial tip-in on the throttle, and then you'll see it stabilizes. If you were actually driving and it was actually under load and you were giving it gas, it would stay in the lower numbers, like down in the 12s or wherever it goes down to under load. It would actually stay there and not shoot back up because there's no load on it right now.
Word. So the wideband is installed. Everything's plugged up. We tested it. It works. Now, Bryan just has to lift back up the car, tidy up the wires underneath it, and then we'll go for a drive, make sure everything's working right, and see what numbers it reads on their boost, because we really don't even know. We're kind of just guessing right now, but we know what it's supposed to read at idle, and it's reading correctly, so I assume it should read properly under boost. For a test run,
That's looking a little better. It was in the 10s, which is too rich, and it's now in the 11s, so
yes.
Under boost, so I could probably take a little more fuel out of it.
So we're running 11s under boost right now. We're at about 5,000 RPM. I don't know if you guys can see that, but
yeah, we're still hitting 10s a little bit. I should probably back it out a little more.
so we probably gotta adjust the fuel a little bit, but it's running good right now. We're cruising at about 55 miles an hour, 3,000 RPM. This is outside of boost, and I think it was at 15.
Yeah, and it's what I adjusted isn't really going to affect the air fuel ratio at idle. It's only going to affect it under load.
All right, what was that reading at?
I think it was 11, high 11s, low 12s. That time it was like 12s.
Yeah, it was in the 12s for that pull.
I'll have to drive around with it for a little bit.
High 12s, low 13s. I think the system might still be calibrating too. That might be a possibility.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're back at the shop. Overall, wideband install went well, went smooth. We didn't run into any hiccups or kinks or anything like that. The car, Bryan did a little fuel adjustments, and the numbers are reading good, and the car is pulling harder than it did before after he did his fuel adjustments, which the wideband aided him in seeing if he needed to add fuel or pull fuel. So it's doing what it's supposed to do, and the car is running great.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It was a piece of cake.
Word. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned.